Hi, everyone. Today is Wednesday, November 11th, and today is just sort of going to be story time. I'm going to read to you one of my favorite composition theorists. Her name is Anne Lamott, and she writes a book called Bird by Bird, Some Instructions on Writing in Life. And I'm going to read you a piece from that book on perfectionism and how it can hinder our creative process as writers, but also how it can really hinder us in our own day-to-day and how we live our lives. So on a personal note, I deal with sort of the toxic effects of perfectionism myself. It's something that I've actually had to seek therapy on. When I grew up, there were a lot of expectations about who I was supposed to be, how I was supposed to look and act, what kind of grades I was supposed to bring home. And in fact, most of the rewards that I kind of got from family were centered around being the best I could be. And so it's, as an adult, that has been something that has been really hard for me to overcome, because I still feel I need this almost reward system for being the best. And this can actually really hinder our ability to do our best work. So sorry about that little personal story, but it's true for me. If this is something that's true for you too, I have a lot of resources that I could share with you. Mindfulness really helps as far as stress reduction, that's sort of centered on perfectionism and those tendencies. But there are also other little coaching exercises that I like to use that I could share with you as well. So let's get to it. I'm going to share my screen. And here is the piece. And if we were in class together, I'd actually have the book and I would bring you a copy of the book, but I didn't have it. It's still in my office, which I haven't even visited in a while. So anyway, I found this document of it. And I'm going to read through it and then kind of talk with you about it at the end. And then I'll send you on your way to do your daily write today. So this is on perfectionism. Perfectionism is the voice of the oppressor, the enemy of the people. It will keep you cramped and insane your whole life, and it is the main obstacle between you and a shitty first draft. I think perfectionism is based on the obsessive belief that if you run carefully enough, hitting each stepping stone just right, you won't have to die. The truth is, you're going to die anyway, and that a lot of people who aren't even looking at their feet are going to do a whole lot better than you and have a lot more fun while they're doing it. Besides, perfectionism will ruin your writing, blocking inventiveness and playfulness and life force. These are words we're allowed to use in California. Perfectionism means that you try desperately not to leave so much mess to clean up. But clutter and mess show us that life is being lived. Clutter is wonderfully fertile ground. You can still discover new treasures under all those piles, clean things up, edit things out, fix things, get a grip. Tidiness suggests that something is as good as it's going to get. Tidiness makes me think of held breath, of suspended animation, while writing needs to breathe and move. When I was 21, I had my tonsils removed. I was one of those people who get strep throat every few minutes, and my doctor finally decided that I needed to have my tonsils taken out. For the entire week afterward, swallowing hurt so much that I could barely open my mouth for a straw. I had a prescription for painkillers, though, and when they ran out, but the pain hadn't, I called the nurse and said that she would really need to send another prescription over and maybe a little mixed grill of drugs because I was feeling somewhat anxious. But she wouldn't. I asked to speak to her supervisor. She told me her supervisor was at lunch and that I needed to buy some gum, of all things, and to chew it vigorously, the thought of which made me clutch at my throat. She explained that when we have a wound in our body, the nearby muscles cramp around it to protect it from any more violation and from infection, and that I would need to use these muscles if I wanted them to relax again. So finally, my best friend Pammy went out and bought me some gum, and I began to chew it with great hostility and skepticism. The first bites caused a ripping sensation in the back of my throat. but within minutes, all the pain was gone permanently. I think that something similar happens with our psychic muscles. They cramp around our wounds. The pain from our childhood, the losses and disappointments of adulthood, the humiliation suffered in both, to keep us from getting hurt in the same place again, to keep foreign substances out. So those wounds never have a chance to heal. Perfectionism is one way our muscles cramp. In some cases, we don't even know that the wounds and the cramping are there, but both limit us. They keep us moving and writing in tight, worried ways. They keep us standing back or backing away from life, keep us from experiencing life in a naked and immediate way. So how do we break through them and get on? It's easier if you believe in God, but not impossible if you don't. If you believe, then God might be capable of relieving you of some of this perfectionism. Still, one of the most annoying things about God is that he never just touches you with his magic wand, like Glinda the Good, and give you what you want, like it would be so much skin off his nose. But he might give you the courage or the stamina to write lots and lots of terrible first drafts. And then you'd learn that good second drafts can spring from those. And you'd see that big, sloppy, imperfect messes have value. Now, it might be that your God is an uptight, judgmental perfectionist, sort of like Bob Dole, or for that matter, me. But a priest friend of mine has cautioned me away from the standard God of our childhoods, who loves and guides you, and then, if you're bad, roasts you. God is high school principal in a gray suit, who never remembered your name, but is always leafing unhappily through your files. If this is your God, maybe you need to blend in the influence of someone who is ever so slightly more amused by you, someone less anal. David Byrne is good, for instance. Gracie Allen is good. Mr. Rogers will work. If you don't believe in God, it may help to remember that great line of Janine Roth's, that awareness is learning to keep yourself company, and then learn to be more compassionate company, as if you were somebody you are fond of and wish to encourage. I doubt that you would read a close friend's early efforts and in his or her presence roll your eyes and snicker. I doubt that you would pantomime sticking your finger down your throat. I think you might say something along the lines of, "Good for you. We can work out some of the problems later, but for now, full steam ahead." In any case, the bottom line is that if you want to write, you get to, but you probably won't be able to get very far if you don't start trying to get over your perfectionism. You set out to tell a story of some sort, to tell the truth as you feel it, because something's calling you to do so. It calls you like the beckoning finger of smoke in cartoons that rises off the pie cooling on the windowsill, slides under doors and into mouse holes, or into the nostrils of the sleeping man or woman in the easy chair. Then the aromatic smoke crooks its finger, and the mouse, or the man or woman, rises and follows, nose in the air. But some days the smoke is faint, and you just have to follow it as best you can, sniffing away. Still, even on those days, you might notice how great perseverance feels. And the next day, the scent may seem stronger, or it may just be that you're developing a quiet doggedness. This is priceless. Perfectionism, on the other hand, will only drive you mad. Your days might turn out to have been a mess. So what? Kurt Vonnegut said, "When I write, I feel like an armless, legless man with a crayon in his mouth." So go ahead and make big scrawls and mistakes. Use lots of paper. Perfectionism is a mean, frozen form of idealism, while messes are an artist's true friend. What people somehow, inadvertently I'm sure, forgot to mention when we were children was that we need to make messes in order to find out who we are and why we are here, and by extension, what we're supposed to be writing. All right, guys, that's perfectionism. And what you'll see as you go through here, first of all, Anne Lamott's pretty funny, and she loves to use anecdotes, and she loves to joke. But at the end of the day, there are these moments that really slow down in the essay that emphasize what she's trying to say. And that ultimately, if you're trying to make the work that you're doing this week, these rough drafts, if you're obsessed with making them perfect, you might very well miss a huge opportunity for learning. And I would much rather you get that opportunity to learn something interesting and new and make yourself have this whole new idea of a subject that when you went into the research you actually didn't know much about. Maybe you thought you knew everything about it then, but you've realized you knew so little about it. And if you're ending up, as you're writing this week and you're almost like, I don't even know where I stand on this anymore, then that is the art of being an academic. And welcome to the club. I hope this week, as you're getting feedback from me and getting feedback from Ms. Black and your peers, maybe even going to the Writing Center, that you are pushing this paper, this thing that you've been working on for weeks now. If you think about the flip grid, that we did a few weeks ago, you've been in this research now for at least 3 weeks, that you're letting it be messy. And this weekend is the weekend for polishing. Okay, so good luck with that. Just a couple reminders. Don't forget that the Rhet Lab module on readability is due by the end of the day on Friday. I am available pretty much every day this week in between what I would call my normal class hours, which are between 10 and 1. So you can send me a request for a conference, and I'd love to meet with you face-to-face, not face-to-face, but on Zoom if you'd like to meet. Miss Black's office hours are also tomorrow on Thursday from 1 to 3, so you can check in with her there. And anyway, just let us know if you need any help. Don't forget your daily write today. The prompt, let's look at the prompt. It's on perfectionism. Consider the class video today. Write about ways you feel frozen in your revisions of your research argument. What's holding you back from doing your best work, and how might you overcome those hindrances? All right, guys, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Check in with me if you need anything.